You are watching 2+ Nevada, and I am so excited to have David Wise with us. Of course, he's our local Olympic hero, a 2-time gold medalist, 5-time X Games gold medalist. David, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me on.
We're really excited to have you here. And of course, we brought you in because you have been to the Olympics before. So you know the pressure that all these athletes are going to. What did I hear? There are fewer than 3,000 athletes from so many countries at the Olympics this year.
Yeah, it's like a small village of all high-level athletes. It's kind of crazy.
And for these athletes, they are chasing their dreams. What is that like?
Yeah, the strange nuance with the Olympics is that you chase this dream. You know, for me, I chased it for 4 years, didn't quite make the team this time around, but I've made it 3 times in the past. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like high school, where you're working for one thing for 4 years, and then when it happens, it's almost surprising that it's over. And then the thing that I've been noticing, especially with the young athletes this time around, is just this shock of the notoriety that comes with the games, where you're like, oh, people actually care what I have to say. I can't just randomly tweet my thoughts and have nobody even like them or even read them. Now, all of a sudden, you are not just a half-pipe skier. You're an ambassador for the United States of America. You are an ambassador for your community. You are suddenly everybody cares. They haven't cared for 4 years, but they care now, and they really care. So it's interesting to watch.
And it's a heavy responsibility too, that these kids, and I say kids, we know that they're athletes of all ages. In fact, we'll get to that in a second, but they're athletes of all ages, but these young athletes, that's a heavy burden.
It is. It's a heavy burden. It's something I don't know that you can prepare yourself for. I'm kind of the mentor on my team, and I kind of let them know, like, hey guys, there's a whole different level of notoriety to the Olympics versus the X Games or anything else that we've ever done. Right. So just, no answer is a safe answer. You don't have to answer all these questions that you get asked, and you don't have to live tweet your life. Be careful.
Exactly.
Because people will take your words out of context. They'll overblow things. They'll look past the good of what you said, and they'll just focus on the negative. It's hard for me to watch the young athletes being, like, almost, in my opinion, overly criticized for some of the things that they've said, because it's just like, at the end of the day, they're just answering the question.
Right. And then you are a parent yourself. So how old are your kids?
My daughter is 14. My son's 11.
So these are life lessons that you're teaching them as well, because, they have the responsibility of being an Olympian's child.
True.
Yeah. They're going to the Olympics with you this year.
Yep. So since my kids' tickets were already booked and I didn't make the team, but I'm figured, well, why not make a fun family trip out of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is it like being on the sidelines, and doing this trip? You're there, you're the moral support, you're kind of the guiding, principle, if you will, for those on the skis when they're out there. What is that like?
Yeah, it's strange for me. If you think about it, like, the last 12 years of my life have all been dedicated to Olympic glory. I'm constantly, riding this roller coaster of highs and lows, but I've always, at least until this season, managed to peak at the right time and compete well at the Olympic Games. This time around, I didn't quite pull it all together and make the team. So now I have to have this new role, and it's really strange for me. I'm like, okay, I'm actually just a support person. Normally, I'm the person being supported.
Right.
I'm supportive of my teammates, but I've never been actually just a support person. Uh-huh. So that's going to be a new experience for me. But I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm like, okay, every person's life has different eras, and this era of me being the guy on top of the podium is probably over, and that's okay. I'm happy to move on to the next era.
So let's talk about eras and the pursuit of that podium, maybe age being a part of it. And while she's a different discipline, we've got Lindsey Vonn to talk about. A devastating crash. devastating injury. You have had not only an ACL tear, but you also had a drastic shattered femur. Now, no words being said about what bone she's broken at this point, right?
I'm guessing it was her femur, but that's just my opinion. Don't cite me on that, but
with what she was striving for, a woman in her 40s to be the eldest medal winner, male or female, in alpine skiing, and to see how she went out. I mean, what are your thoughts when you see that?
I mean, I've always philosophically looked at my career and Lindsay's career and careers like them as high risk, high reward. The reality is she knew she was taking a lot of risk to come back at the age that she's at. And the trauma that her body's been through from her past injuries, she knew she was taking a lot of risk, but she felt like it was worth pursuing. She did. Then she had a crash where she tore her ACL. Now she's gone from high risk to extremely high risk. You are now not only a well-seasoned female athlete, but you also are a well-seasoned female athlete with a missing ligament in your knee, which causes a lot of stability. ACL is responsible for stability more than anything else. Now you have a slightly unstable knee. Everybody's anatomically different. I have competed with no ACL and for like 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks of competing with no ACL, I was like, this doesn't work for me. I'm in so much pain constantly that I'm in danger of hurting something else because I'm not stable. And I have a relatively stable knee, big joints. She's pretty similar build-wise. She has big joints, stable, and you know, she went through it with the medical team. It's like she wasn't going to come back the next Olympic cycle around. So I'm sure for her team, looking at it with her, they're like, look, your knee is relatively stable for somebody with an ACL tear. You can go for it if you want to, but now we're going from high risk to extremely high risk. Well, she took that extremely high risk. Unfortunately, she paid the price. None of us that go into this at an extremely high risk are unaware of what the consequences could be. Unfortunately, she had to pay those consequences, but I don't think she would go back. I don't think even now, having suffered whatever injury she has suffered, I don't think she would go back and not try.
Yeah.
Because 4 years of effort, I mean, for her, it was more than 4 years. The reality is her coming back from all of her catastrophic injuries and getting her body to a place where she felt like she could go for another Olympics, that wasn't just a 4-year process.
No.
It was a lot longer than that. So for her going into that, seeing, all right, my ACL is torn, I'm going to have that surgically repaired at the end of this journey. Do I still want to go for it? And the answer was yes. I don't fault her. I'd have done the same thing.
Okay, there you go. And with that, the very first gold medal for the United States of America coming out of the ski team. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, so hyped to see that. Just, I think that's the beauty of the Olympics, because I always root for the American skiers on the World Cup circuit. I root for them wherever they're going. You know, I have some mogul skiers that are good friends. I have some aerialists that are good friends. I have friends all across the board because I've been fortunate enough to go to the Olympics 3 times. But when it's at the games, it's so much more just impactful. And it's just like, yes.
David, I thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We wish you safe travels when you go to Italy yourself to root on our team. And we just adore you and who you are and what you stand for.
Thank you. Go Reno.
Go Reno. You're watching 2 Plus U Nevada.